Have you ever wondered how satisfied am I with my spiritual practices? Well, I was definitely wondering how satisfied people are, so for that I did a little study. I did a Google form and I asked people to be 100% honest. It's an anonymous study and there's a bunch of questions which we're gonna get into. I got 50 responses. I was aiming for 100, but oh well. If I were to do this study now, I would ask some completely different questions about people's well-being and happiness and so on. But you'll see what the answers are. And in the end, I think there's gonna be some pretty interesting analysis based on the questions. Some interesting stuff is gonna come out, at least for me. So the main age group is 25 to 34. Nobody too young, nobody too old. And mainly just participants without children. 8 people are with kids. How much of your daily time is occupied? So mainly it's 8 to 11 hours, then 5 to 7 hours. Have you learned any yoga meditation? 100% since the group. Well, here I should say the groups are Sadhana group from WhatsApp and Isha Estonian group. And I think the majority came from Sadhana group. So how long have you been practicing? 3 to 5 years, mainly. Under 1 year, very few. And surprisingly, not any people more than 8 years. What are your goals with spiritual practice or sadhana? So the main thing is personal growth, then comes self-exploration, liberation, and inner peace. And then there's some custom answers: trust, something might happen, manifestation, physical and mental health benefits, deep in the spirituality, whatever that means. How many different practices have you learned? Mainly it's 5 or more, since again it's Sadhana group, so we all learned a lot of practices. Do you have a daily sadhana routine? So overwhelming majority they do have. How many practices are part of your daily routine? So this is quite widely spread out, but the majority says 5 or more. How many days a week do you do your practices on average? So on average 62% do every day. And then it's like spread out. 5 days is the next most popular, 7 people. So let's look how many days ideally would people do. And here obviously, well, I think obviously every day they would do it, and then it's spread out between the other answers. If it's 0, I thought 0 would be bigger. Ideally no sadhana. Okay, how long is one sadhana session for you? So this is equally pretty much distributed between more than 2 hours and 1 to 2 hours. So in that range. Would you like to increase time allocated for sadhana? So yeah, 3/4 they are saying yes, they would. Are you satisfied with your daily routine? And half of the people say yes. 1/3 says no, and some people don't care, or they're indifferent, like the option is here. Would you like to add more practices to your routine? So almost half say yes. Then again 1/3 says in the future maybe, and no. How would you like to improve your sadhana routine? So let's look into this. I would like to find ways to intensify my sadhana. This is the single one most important. I would like to be more consistent. I would like to allocate more time for my practices. I would like to do more practices, and then there's others, and then some custom ones. I would like to plan my time more properly, so I get more sleep and so on. Sangha support. Like Sadhguru, this is interesting. Like Sadhguru, I would like to reach a stage where 20 seconds of sadhana in a day is only needed. Wouldn't we all? Okay, so would like to reduce my time and improve the quality of my practices. Makes sense. Discipline, I need. Okay. When do you do your practices usually? So 88% they do in the morning. So this is I gave this question multiple answers, so they can answer morning and evening. But yeah, so evening is second best, and nobody really does, or very few do it in the afternoon. So what are your main distractions? Let's look at this. Lack of time being the most, most distracting thing. Then nothing really distracts some people. Environment, privacy, health, social distractions. And then there's distractions really. So somebody thinks distractions are an illusion. So this is in Estonian. This translates to when he's eating or smoking or working, then you have to do a 4-hour break. He can't do it. Lack of discipline, social media, work, laziness, not able to sleep. Myself, yeah, a lot of people consider themselves a distraction. Office and travel, discipline, work timings. So it seems like, it's like self-accountability or just a busy schedule that's most distracting. How important of a role does sadhana play in your life? Here I gave 10 is supposed to be the most, this is the most important thing in your life. And quite surprisingly, a lot of 29 people out of 50, they said this is the most important thing. It's cool to see. How satisfied are you with your sadhana? So actually most people are maximally satisfied. That's nice to see. And then it goes 8 is the second, and so on. What kind of support would you appreciate in your sadhana? The most popular one is for intensity. People would like to intensify their sadhana. Advice for consistency, practice revision, accountability, no support needed. Okay. How would you prefer to receive guidance or instruction? Live sessions, video tutorials, one-on-one consultation. Okay, one-on-one, practice support. That's cool. How have you sought to improve your sadhana before, or have you sought? So over half of the people have. And do you think with the correct support you're willing to improve your sadhana? And 84 people say yes. And somebody says, I'll improve it on my own without any support. That's good. All right, so let's get into the more complex analysis or the cool part. So here I asked, I think Grok gives the best answers. I asked AI with this prompt, and let's see what it came up with. This pretty much is summing up, how long people work and what's their satisfaction. So you can see here, pretty much what it says is that the more people work, the less satisfied they seem to be with their sadhana. And this one makes sense also. So daily practice and satisfaction. So basically this one says that if you have a daily routine, if you do it every day, you're probably going to end up being more satisfied. Makes sense. Here you can see people who do not practice daily. So you can see a big portion of them can rate their satisfaction pretty low, and 88% want to improve their sadhana. So the non-daily practitioners, it seems that they're not too satisfied. Another one that makes sense, so here if people practice over 2 hours, they're likely to be more satisfied than people who practice for a short time. So let's see age relations with sadhana habits. This is pretty interesting because what I understand from here is that younger people, they practice more consistently, but the older people are more satisfied with their practice. This came up in another analysis I did with another prompt before. It isn't in here, but older people are much more satisfied with their sadhana. I think something like this comes up here also. So there's something about parenthood. I think the most notable thing here is 80% of parents working 8+ hours want to increase time for sadhana compared to 55% of non-parents. So I think this just says that parents, once they're done working, they probably have to come home and deal with the kids also. They don't really have too much time for sadhana. Another interesting one, so years of practice in relation with satisfaction. So it seems here that the longer you practice, the more satisfied you become. This is nice to see. It's either that the sadhana is working or you become just, you don't care that much anymore and you're just satisfied. Based on my experience, at least, the sadhana is, starting to work more and more the more you practice. Okay, the goals one. This is one of the most interesting things to me. 75% of people with liberation as goal, their satisfaction level is very high compared to 50% with stress relief as a goal. So you better set the right goals. 33% of those with no specific goals rated satisfaction below 5 versus 11% with multiple goals. So what I read from here, set the right goals and just set goals and set a lot of them. Desire to improve and satisfaction, I think this pretty much goes hand in hand. The less you are satisfied, the more you want to improve and so on. So this one is pretty obvious. I think the people who are more distracted, they probably practice less. And the ones who are less distracted, they probably practice more. Ooh, another interesting one. 71% of people rating sadhana's importance 10 out of 10. This means it's the most important thing. Have a very high satisfaction level compared to 33% rating it 5 to 7. This is another interesting. So if you want to be satisfied with your sadhana, make it the number one thing. That's a good tip. Another thing that goes hand in hand, I think, seeking help and willingness to improve. So if you seek for help, you're probably willing to improve, and the other way around. Here again, what comes out is that the more practices you do, the more consistently you practice, the more satisfied you are. But now let's find out what the AI brought out as his or hers most creative comparisons. So 75% of people who practice morning only rated satisfaction 8 to 10 compared to 50% of people practicing whenever they get the time. So I think this translates to just, try to get it out of the way or, done in the morning straight away and you'll be satisfied. Now this one is what I mentioned before. This came out in another prompt that I did with Grok AI. And so 60% of those working 8+ hours and practicing over 2 hours report high satisfaction versus 25% with shorter sessions. So it was interesting. What came out is that the people who are more satisfied is the people who don't have any work at all. They're basically monks. Or the people who are working 12+ hours plus doing 2+ hours sadhana. So it's pretty much seems like black and white. You're either a monk or you're totally in the social environment and plus you're doing sadhana on top and you don't have any free time at all. If you're in the middle, you're probably not as satisfied. And the last one pretty much says that young people with no kids, they are more open to intensifying their sadhana compared to parents. So that's it. Let me know what you thought. Post in the comments below. There's maybe coming this kind of content more, so consider giving a subscribe and like the video and whatever, and see you later. Namaskaram.